Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, RingsideNews.com. WWE Payback is this coming Sunday, live on pay-per-view. NoDQ.com is your source for all the latest news and rumors regarding Payback, as well as live results coverage. And I'm going to be doing something different this weekend for Payback. Instead of posting one video after the pay-per-view, what I decided to do is I am going to post immediate reactions to the major matches or major storylines that take place at Payback. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/NoDQDOTCOM. Now that that's out of the way, let's get down to your questions from spring.me/AaronRift. First one today from That Was My Fault. Hey Aaron, do you think that WWE pushed Bray Wyatt too fast? What would be after the feud with Cena? Please answer in video. I don't think that they pushed Bray Wyatt too fast. WWE has pushed lots of characters very quickly, and they've gone over and they've stayed over. Guys like The Shield, Kurt Angle, going way back, Brock Lesnar. All these guys were pushed very quickly right out of the gate, and they caught on because WWE pushed them strong. Those guys, the key to all those guys being successful is that they were pushed hard and they won matches. That was the bottom line. They were credible from the get-go. With Bray Wyatt, he has been credible for the most part. I think the one big mistake WWE has made with Bray Wyatt is having him lose at WrestleMania to John Cena. I have no problem with John Cena beating Bray Wyatt. In fact, if John Cena beat Bray Wyatt to end the feud, I would have been okay with that. I think that the problem is Bray Wyatt lost the first match at WrestleMania. I think that that was the most critical match because that is the match that the majority of people are watching. It's at WrestleMania. It's the match that people are going to remember years from now. And it could have been a big event for Bray Wyatt to get a key win over John Cena at the biggest show of the year. And that would have put him on the map, I think. And you could have had John Cena beat him in a rematch the next month and get his revenge and save face or whatever. That would have been fine and just do two matches. The way they've done it, having John Cena win the first match, Bray winning the second match by a complete goofy fluke angle, and then losing to John Cena again, it just doesn't do Bray Wyatt's characters any favors. And when you look at guys like The Shield and Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, those guys were all credible right from the get-go, and you took those guys seriously because they actually won matches decisively. So it might be okay for Bray Wyatt in the long run if he wins this match with John Cena at Payback, but yeah, I would have definitely done it a bit differently. All right, this one comes from Tom09Hair. Hey Aaron, do you think that Cesaro acting as occasional backstage interviewer on SmackDown is taking away from his push? I mean, you wouldn't see Brock Lesnar or a serious main eventer doing that. You make a good point there, and I think just in general, the way WWE has handled Cesaro since WrestleMania has been very disappointing. I think that WWE should have struck the iron when it was hot with Cesaro, and I think maybe putting him with Paul Heyman in the long run was a bad idea because he's been stuck in this mid-card position now, and what WWE should have done perhaps is, if not put him with Evolution, they should have put him in there with Daniel Bryan and given him a main event push and maybe done Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro at Extreme Rules for the title. Now, maybe that would have been too soon, but what they're doing right now, it just feels like whatever momentum Cesaro had at WrestleMania is all but gone at this point, and he's just another guy in the roster. I mean, he was really hot a couple months ago, and now it just seems like he's, just another guy. So I don't know what you can do at this point, but, there's Money in the Bank coming up, and maybe he'll win Money in the Bank, and that'll be the start of the big push for him. I mean, time will tell. I just hope that in the long run, Cesaro does get something out of this whole momentum that he got with the big swing and just having awesome matches. So we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, definitely the backstage interview stuff isn't doing him any favors. All right, this one comes from Calvin Bowman1. Hey Aaron, I love your show. I watch it every day. My question is this. What was your favorite match from King of the Ring 97? Mine would have to be Triple H taking on Mankind. What do you think? Yeah, I would probably say that match by default. I thought that the Steve Austin-Shawn Michaels match was okay. And for whatever reason, Michaels and Austin just didn't really gel in the ring like other matchups. King of the Ring wasn't all that great. The WrestleMania 14 match was really nothing special. So yeah, I mean, that was definitely a bit of a disappointment. And Triple H and Mankind, those guys had chemistry together. Their matches were always very entertaining. And, I remember Mankind taking all the bumps in that match and getting hit with the scepter. And Triple H being crowned the King of the Ring. So, I liked that whole match. And actually, I think my favorite part of that whole pay-per-view was Steve Austin putting Brian Pillman's head down the toilet. I mean, that tells you that wasn't really a very good pay-per-view when Austin and Pillman doing the bathroom angle was the best part of the show. All right, this next one comes from Wrestling Dude 95. Yo, Aaron, what are your thoughts on Christian Cage's time with TNA and how much he accomplished in the company? I think it was good for Christian to get away from WWE for a while. Clearly, he was burned out and he was frustrated with not getting the big push when his character was starting to catch fire. Kind of similar to a similar situation right now with Cesaro. At the time, Christian was building momentum and fans were reacting to him. And WWE just didn't really do anything with him, and he got frustrated, and he went to TNA, and he was able to make good money, working a limited schedule, and he was a key player in TNA. He had a run with the world title, and he had his own faction, and he was doing very well for himself. Now, he was a big fish in a small pond, but I think it did good for his ego to be able to go to TNA and be a top guy and then have that run. I think it was good for him mentally. And, once he was through with that, he was able to go back to WWE and have another solid run and eventually win the world title. Granted, it wasn't a main event feud. It was, the title was pretty much secondary at that point, but at least he got that opportunity to wrestle Randy Orton for the title at several pay-per-views. All right, this next one comes from Devon Get the Table. Hey Aaron, long-time viewer, first-time asker. Do you think Paul Heyman is really helping Cesaro? Cesaro had so much momentum going from right now after Mania. In my opinion, he could have gone far on his own. Please answer in video. I mentioned this a few minutes ago about Cesaro, and for whatever reason, the whole Paul Heyman guy storyline isn't working. It's almost like a curse, it seems, at this point. You had Ryback, you had Curtis Axel, and now you have Cesaro. And it's not Paul Heyman that's the problem. It's the way that these guys are being presented. With Brock Lesnar, he is a special attraction. He comes in every now and then, and Paul Heyman knows how to do the promos for Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar is taken seriously. With these other guys like Cesaro and Curtis Axel and Ryback, part of it is the writing. Part of it is, the guys just not being able to get over, like Curtis Axel. But with Cesaro, clearly he had some momentum, and you would think with a guy like Paul Heyman at his side, he would go straight to the top. But for whatever reason, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe part of it is the WWE writing. Another thing I mentioned, or I didn't mention, was the entrance music. I'm not a fan of the entrance music. Hasn't caught on with me personally. And, I think the music is a big part of an act. So, I think that they dropped the ball there. And, he needs to get out of these mid-card feuds. They should put him in there with a top guy. And, Bryan's hurt now, so he can't do that. But certainly by Money in the Bank, I think that, people keep asking me, who do you think is going to win Money in the Bank this year? I mean, I think he's the clear favorite. And from that point, you need to take him seriously. And I'm really hoping if Cesaro wins Money in the Bank that they don't have him do a ton of jobs before cashing in Money in the Bank. If he wins Money in the Bank, he should be the opposite of what WWE's been doing with the winners over the past few years. He should go on a rampage, beating guy after guy, and really build some momentum. Picking up a lot of wins on pay-per-view and at the big shows, and then have him cash it in and perhaps win the title. So we'll see what happens with Cesaro, but hopefully they have something good planned for him, because it would be a huge shame if he went nowhere at this point, after having so much momentum earlier this year. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. If you enjoyed today's video, share it on Facebook and Twitter. Tell a friend about No DQ&A video. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And I will see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ&A video.